In February, the White House released its budget proposals for 2019. As a percentage of GDP, the administration's budget would cut international affairs spending to the lowest levels since the Second World War. For international development assistance, President Trump's proposed Economic Support and Development Fund consolidates 4 current accounts while cutting total assistance levels by 43%, or $3.8 billion. The new fund would also be managed by the State Department rather than USAID, complicating an ongoing debate about aid allocation and political allegiance to the United States. Voices, both within and outside the administration, have advocated to distribute aid resources in alignment with UN votes. The proposition has rankled many critics who point to unprecedented levels of humanitarian need. Since 2010, the Whole of Government Feed the Future initiative has consistently received about $1 billion per year to support improvements in long-term global food security. But this year, the White House budget proposes to slash that allocation in half. At USAID, Administrator Mark Green is focused on strategic transitions that push countries towards greater self-reliance. But many partner countries start at a huge disadvantage, given their significant undernourished populations. At the same time, Congress has shown bipartisan support for global food security investments. The number of chronically undernourished people in the world has grown to 815 million. There is broad political consensus that protracted food insecurity undermines U.S. national security and strategic interests. If Congress wants to maximize aid effectiveness, the agricultural and nutrition sectors are hard to beat, especially when programming targets women. In sub-Saharan Africa, agricultural investments generate an 11% return, while agricultural research spending, generally a public good, comes in at a whopping 93%. Economic growth from agriculture has proven to be 2 to 4 times as effective at reducing poverty as growth in other sectors. Nutrition spending has an even higher return. Nutrition investments, including micronutrient supplementation, fortification and biofortification, and deworming, have consistently ranked among the most effective interventions across sectors. Many experts agree that it will be hard to achieve any of the Sustainable Development Goals without prioritizing nutrition. The Congressional Budget Justification for Foreign Operations explains that undernutrition contributes to almost half the deaths of children under 5. Focusing on evidence-based approaches to nutrition during the first 1,000 days, from the start of a woman's pregnancy to a child's second birthday, supports long-term health, cognitive development, physical growth, and school and work performance later in life. Nutrition programming is estimated to return $16 for every $1 invested. Yet the administration's budget slashes nutrition funding by 37%. With an estimated 155 million stunted kids in the world, that's just 50 cents per child in need. Without a nutrition budget increase, nearly a quarter of the world's children will be prevented from achieving their physical and cognitive potential. That's just bad economics today, and even worse economics tomorrow. Malnutrition costs the global economy about $350 billion every year. On a global scale, recent declines in food and nutrition security stem from heightened conflict and political instability. The vast majority of the world's chronically food insecure and malnourished live in countries rattled by conflict. Rather than responding to acute humanitarian crises after they erupt, U.S. resources would be better spent on conflict prevention and de-escalation before food and nutrition insecurity take their irreversible toll. The World Bank estimates that scaled-up approaches to conflict prevention could save up to $70 billion a year. Those resources could then be reinvested in evidence-based programming to facilitate both human capital growth and aid independence. In fact, the President's budget proposes that a quarter of the funding for longer-term food security programs be used to improve the resilience of vulnerable populations. Addressing root causes of food crises and therefore reducing future humanitarian needs should also be considered. But that's a tall order for a budget cut in half. To extend Feed the Future's work in target countries, bipartisan legislation has been introduced to reauthorize the Global Food Security Act through at least 2021. A smart 2019 budget that prioritizes global food and nutrition security protects U.S. strategic interests on both sides of the political aisle. When we can invest in a child achieving her full potential, whether in Nebraska or Nigeria, we should.